Hey everybody, I'm Jacob Castro and welcome to another video here on Jacob's Aquarium. Hope you guys are doing good and hope your tanks are doing good as well. I am at Jacob's Aquarium HQ and I'm here today because I wanted to make a few modifications to Super Pond. So let me explain. So in my original video about Super Pond, which has gotten a lot of views, thank you guys very much. I don't know where all those views came from. Because usually when I upload videos, they get maybe 1,000, 2,000 views. After a week, they're up to 5,000, 10,000 views. But this video about Super Pond got up to like 50,000 views in only a week. So that was pretty crazy. Thank you guys so much for that. I really appreciate it. So in the original video about Super Pond, you guys noticed that my outtake, the water coming from the wet dry filter going back into the pond, was right next to where the water goes into the pond. Not necessarily the best place for an outtake to be because it's not really circulating water that well, So I didn't really talk too much about that, so naturally you guys would say something about it, recommend that I change it, and don't get me wrong, I would have said something too, But the reason why I couldn't have the outtake coming from the filter on the back of the pond was because my pump simply was not powerful enough to pump water 20 feet away and still maintain enough GPH to keep the overflow going. Without a certain amount of GPH coming back into the pond, GPH is gallons per hour, the overflow will not stay active and the pond could overflow and flood. We don't want that. I thought about it a little more, and I figured, well, I have two pumps, so why not use both pumps? And that should, maintain the proper GPH in order to keep the overflow going. The two pumps I'm using are Active Aqua 1,000 gallon per hour pumps, and I figured I'd give it a try, so I did, and the whole system's working beautifully. So let's take a look at the modifications that I made today on Super Pond. Okay, so as you can see, there's a lot of PVC coming out of the wet dry filter. It looks a lot different. So, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I'm using both of my Active Aqua 1,000 gallon per hour pumps, and I plumbed them in a way so that I can easily remove them from the system for maintenance. You can see those two union fittings on either side of the wet dry filter. Those union fittings allow me to just unscrew the pump from the whole system versus having to unscrew the pump like directly from where the PVC screws into it, which would be really, really difficult. Union fittings just make things a lot easier. So I did that. And so both pumps are working. Both pumps are inside the wet dry filter, and they're both pushing water out of the filter back into the pond. And, even though they're losing some GPH because they're pumping water so far away, as you can see, there is plenty of GPH going back into the pond to maintain the siphon for the overflow. And actually, the water is pretty full inside the overflow box, so it's probably more than enough. But as you can see, this awesome eShops overflow is handling all that water very perfectly. And I watched the system for hours and hours and hours, so nothing was building up to overflow over the pond or anything, or the water levels weren't adjusting. That this system is exactly how it's going to work for forever, so it's perfect. Everything about this just worked really, really great. I was actually really surprised. So yeah, I have PVC going down the full length of the pond, and there's an outtake on either side of the pond coming from each individual filter. Each individual pump rather. There's two pumps, as I mentioned. And, another benefit to plumbing the pond this way is that now 100% of the water is being filtered. It's not just, maybe 50, 75% like it was before when the outtake was closer to the intake. Now 100% of the water is being filtered because it's all being pushed towards the end of the pond, and everything's getting blown back into the filter. And, this is so much better. That means the pond's going to be filtered a lot more efficiently. CO2 is going to be mixed in the pond much more efficiently as well. I have CO2 being pumped into the pond through one of the return pumps I didn't mention that when I was showing the filter, but I have a diffuser right next to the intake to one of the return pumps, and that allows the CO2 to get sucked up into the pump and mixed with water as it travels down the piping and back into the pond, and that mixes CO2 very efficiently in the pond. And I can tell that it's mixing the CO2 very efficiently because my plants pearl like crazy. Sometimes I'll be working in the greenhouse and like giant bubbles of oxygen will just pop up out of nowhere. So the plants are getting plenty of CO2, which is great. This is exactly what I need. So this whole system is just working beautifully. And, I'm glad that I figured out a solution to this problem because, now 100% of the water is being filtered and things are just going to work out so much better. Now, in a moment, I'm going to show you guys a really quick clip. I didn't show how I built this thing or anything, but I wanted to change the overflow part of the filter as well. Because as you can see, the overflow box I have, it has like this grate, like these little slits or slats cut into the acrylic. And because of that, leaves and plant matter and all kinds of debris would always get stuck in there, making the pond overflow. So what I did was I went to bulkreefsupply.com, I bought a bulkhead, and I did this. Look at this, guys. I'm totally geeking out right now. This is my new overflow. Isn't this cool? This is a 2-inch Schedule 80 bulkhead with a couple elbows and some 2-inch PVC, and it's working exactly like it should. Water is overflowing into the PVC that's in the pond and going out into the wet dry filter, and a 2-inch overflow is plenty to handle all the water that I'm pumping back into the pond. And now any leaves or plant matter or debris or anything that get close to the intake of my overflow will not stop it from working, because as you can see, there's nowhere for plant matter to get caught. It just gets sucked right in. So I just drilled a hole through the piece of wood. Use a little bit of silicone and tighten the bulkhead really tight, and the system works beautifully, guys. So as far as filtration goes, the pond is set 100%. I couldn't be happier because this means that the pond is going to be properly filtered for the rest of its life. Alright, so that pretty much does it for this video here on Jacob's Aquarium. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you're in the market for aquarium plants, please visit my website, jacobsaquarium.com, where I have almost 100 different varieties of plants to choose from, all being grown and pampered in Super Pond. I say pampered because Super Pond is like, it's honestly the mansion of all aquatic plant systems, I think, So I have a lot of plants, a lot of different species of plants to choose from on my website. The website is jacobsaquarium.com. And also don't forget to check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All my social media links will be in the description below. And also don't forget to subscribe to this channel and also like me on Facebook, because you guys will get notifications when I go live on my YouTube channel. Right now I don't have a schedule for my live shows. I do them sporadically, so it's best to be on a notification basis with my live shows, okay? I love you guys so much, and thank you so much for all your views, likes, and subscriptions. I really, really appreciate everything you've done to help me get to where I am today. I'll be back in another video really soon. I love you guys so much. Have fun with your tanks, and I'll see you next time.